It is Monday. We're looking at the fire right now. I actually happen to be up at the Park Fire over the weekend. I was doing some fishing, but I was right there in that zone up by the Pitt River. We've got better conditions for the fire. We saw that yesterday and the day before in terms of humidity and temperature. Fire has really maximized early, grew quickly, and now is starting to manage itself a little better. Or the firefighting effort is becoming more productive as the winds have died down, the humidity has increased, and the temperatures have dropped. And this condition or these conditions last for the next 2 to 3 days. So that's very helpful. Still, it's a huge fire. This is taken from just out about around Reading, kind of on the way to Reading. That's the pyrocumulus cloud there developing. This was right when the fire really started to take off, and so you were starting to see the heat from the fire create this massive uplift. So as we look at a fire, another view of it, this was some of the guys I was with. They were coming up from the south into the fire, probably from Susanville on 89, I believe it is. So you can see the air quality, not good up around Bernie, up around MacArthur, up around Susanville. And this is out on the Pitt River. This was you can see the smoke up in the atmosphere, and you just see it's just nasty. It was nasty all weekend. The air quality was horrible, especially in the mornings because the smoke settles down, as you know. So that's how it looked, boots on the ground. But at this point, we were up there when it was doubling in size, so it was pretty aggressive. Now I don't think it hasn't grown that much the last couple of days, which is super fortunate, and that's allowing firefighters to get a good handle on the fire to some extent, at least not so much in the containment numbers, but in terms of the actual growth of the fire. It hasn't grown that much in the last couple of days, fortunately. So here's the fire. This is watchduty.org. I love this website because I'm from Paradise. My friends still live up there. Chico, Cohasset, Forestville, all these places. I know them well, and I know this area. And if you live in these areas, you want this to look at this app, because then you don't have to depend on me or some guys, the weather guys in the newspaper or the TV or the radio, because this is real-time stuff. This is all they're looking at. This is all we're looking at. This is real-time data. This is watchduty.org. So if you're worried, which I have a lot of friends that are worried, you can go to this site. First thing you'll note is, I'll just real quickly go through this. These orange areas, those are the really bright orange. Those are the hot spots. And you see where the hot spots are? They're right along the fire's edges, which makes sense. This is all burned out in here, right? That's all burned. It's still smoldering. It's still smoking. But the active fire zones that are being actively pursued, not down here anymore, not down towards the southern end, but up here on the northern and northeastern end, the fire is moving that way. The beauty of this site is you can see surface winds. You see those little arrows. You can also see the cameras, live camera shots. So this is a live camera. This is Colby Mountain. Let me draw it in big here for you. And this is that Colby? I guess that is. I want Colby Mountain 2. Let's see if I can get that up. Go back. Bear with me here a second. So Colby Mountain 2. Let's try this one. There it is. Okay, so Colby Mountain 2. This is, again, these live cameras are all over the place. I can put a loop on this. And what you're seeing is you're kind of on the eastern side of the fire, southeastern side, and you're seeing them cutting fire line. It already looks like it's been cut already, but they're prepping it up in concern for the fire building. But you can get a good feel for what's happening with the fire. So it's not just the Colby Mountain site. There's a bunch of sites up here. There's a site up here. I'm just clicking through them now. There's another site. All these blue areas represent sites. We can go down to the lower edge of the fire. You can see some of the smoke. This is just north of Chico. You get the idea. So get on that site, play around with it a little bit, and you'll get a good vibe for how the fires are growing. And remember what I said about containment versus growth. Containment, you'll see 12% contained, 2% contained, 0% contained. That doesn't always mean, it doesn't mean what you think it means. It's subjective. It's more subjective. What you want to think about is the fire growth. So that last couple nights ago, when it went from 100 acres to 200 acres, that fire is growing. No matter how much containment they have, that fire it's getting bigger. The next night it doubles again. But if you go from, like, say 360,000 acres, like this morning or somewhere around there, and you're at 370, It's like, okay, the fire, they're getting pretty good management on this fire. Remember, these areas haven't burned in a long time. And especially up around the Paradise area. That is so remote, man. I mean, those areas have not burned. So there's a lot of, in some ways, this is going to end up, because there's not a lot of people live there, and I hope this is the case. And there's not a ton of structures, and I hope you don't lose any property. But in terms of fire management, getting this gutted out, best thing that could happen of our friends in Forest Hill or Forest Ranch and up in Paradise and Magalia in those areas. Air quality in the Bay Area, greens. Air quality up in the fire zones, probably going to be more by Chico, more reds. This is purple air. It gives you a quick, and these are parts per micron. They're 2.5 particle size, so 2.5 micrometers, and that just is this. That's the size of particulate from smoke. It doesn't measure ozone or chemicals. It measures the particulate, and the particulate is what can cause problems with lungs and pre-existing conditions. So when you see these numbers, these colors, they're talking about stuff suspended in the atmosphere that's 2.5 or smaller, and that's what we're seeing in terms of these output numbers. Okay, so here we are. We're back doing weather in the Bay Area. So I know it's a lot, but there's a lot going on. And plus our weather, we know what's going to happen. Next couple of days, more of the same, which is awesome, because after last week's heat, this is really great. Okay, I'll get moving here so you don't have to listen to me too long. Here's the fog. The marine layer is really deep, so temperatures have been consequently cooler, milder. They have been since Saturday. They will continue through Wednesday to be cooler and milder, which will help the firefighting efforts, absolutely, and it already has. And then it heats up a little bit, but it's not a massive heat up. Here we are at Pacifica. I like this shot just because it's such a good camera, right? This is the kids run the surf school down there. I don't know who runs the surf school, but they do a pretty good job. And it looks like a fun place to surf, right? I mean, check it out. Like if you never surfed, you go, I can manage that, right? I used to surf there when I was a kid. Okay, and then this is Pleasure Point. And you can see it's small. Tide's coming up. Nothing really big going on with the ocean right now. The big change for us right now is this trough. And I think you can see the trough. Let me see if I can find it for you. I got to move this over. Okay, so right when I move, see that? Well, let me see. I'll do this. Sorry, I'm not as fast at this as I should be. So we are, right? You can see the state of California. And you can also see this trough. See, it's kind of digging, kind of like there. Okay, so that's that trough. That's the reason things have cooled down. And let's watch what it does over the next couple of days. It sort of lingers to the north of us. So that's why through Wednesday, we're staying kind of the same. It'll warm a little bit, but not much. And that'll help humidities. Now, see it building up. So see this area pumping out of the desert southwest. Watch it. I think I can make it do it some more. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. See, it's building. That's the ridge building out. It's building out of this area here, which will heat us up, but it's not a big, massive heat wave. It's just going to get hotter. So in the Central Valley, back into the mid 90s, probably on Thursday, Friday. Up in the fire zones, humidities will double. Our humidities will be cut in half. They'll be down into the teens again, and temperatures will be in the 90s. The park fire is a little higher, so that it doesn't get as hot. It's not on the valley floor. But either way, fire conditions will deteriorate as we get into Thursday, certainly on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. It's not horrible, though. So this model just showing me where the trough is, and you can see that, I don't know if you can pick out what's happening, but it's sort of a stale pattern for a little while, which is pretty good, actually. So let's see, we got that, we're there, we'll go 5-day forecast. Sure, we will. And this is the 5-day forecast. So I know it's a lot. Watchduty.org. It's going to be the same the next 2 or 3 days. Air quality matters. And if you're in a fire zone, which many of us are, I think we all are, actually. You live in California, except maybe Pacifica. But you want to get this watchduty.org because it's hard. There's nothing. What I've learned from the Paradise situation was that when all my friends were up there, everybody gets nervous and scared. And when you're depending on somebody else to deliver the message or deliver, you want real news. You don't want somebody that's from Ohio who's been out here 6 weeks, telling you what's happening in your neighborhood, in your house. You want to figure it out. And this is all we're looking at, man. I mean, there's not brain surgery. This is the fire zone. That's where the fire was burning. It's burning in this direction. Those bright orange areas are the hot spots. You can see the surface wind directions. And if you want for yourself, you go to these blue lines and you can see the cameras. It's awesome. Watchduty.org. And I'm just encouraging you because I've learned over the years, People get to, I keep saying this, but people, there's a lot of PTSD because of fires, and you can learn a lot about fire on your own. If you've lit fires in your fireplace, you know how they respond to oxygen. You know how they respond to more wood. You know how they respond to dry wood, to wet wood. But right, think about it. Now it's just on a larger scale. And this website will help you kind of interpret that. Just picture your fire, and it's oversimplification. But when you've had fires out of doors, think about how they burn. Now think, oh, well, that area hasn't burned in 70 years. So the wood, there's a lot of dead brush. There's a lot, right? All the things you know. Okay. I will see you back here tomorrow.